Welcome to the most overrated, underappreciated, most viewed, underviewed podcast of all time. Welcome to the Prince of Fresh Air. I am your host. If you don't know, now you already know the most charismatic man in entertainment. I hope everybody's having a great day, great week, another podcast episode. Before I bring on my guest, I just want to give a quick shout out to Voyage LA magazine. They did a great piece on me, interview style, and it just came out. I think it was Thursday it came out. So you could definitely check that out. It's on my Instagram, my website. You can find that everywhere. You can even Google it too. So that's pretty cool. And it's been a great week, interesting couple weeks. So, this morning I woke up, I went to go work out. I'm getting my arm day, full body workout. And then Arnold Schwarzenegger calls me. He says, "Hey man, I saw you tag me in this Instagram reel. How can I be like you?" And I told him, "There's nobody like me because I'm the most charismatic man. I mean, why even ask such a silly question?" No, I'm just kidding. Shout out to Arnold, though. He's an amazing guy. But nonetheless, whether you're drinking the beer, you're on your way from work, you're on vacation, drinking the pina colada, you're at home with the kids, you're hanging out with your buddies, this is the podcast where you can just sit down, listen to, enjoy yourself, and we're going to have a good time. With that, let's bring my guest. I actually had the privilege to record with him on I think it was Saturday or Sunday, and it was Sunday. And amazing guy. He's from Canada, so I got a bone to pick with him. I'm gonna bring him on before I tell him why. But he's from Canada. He hosts his own podcast, his own entertainment company called Corcoran Entertainment, and like I said, he's based in Canada, and his podcast, his company, his branding is local community theater and local entertainment. And he specializes in interviewing other entertainers. He's a writer as well, which is going to be important because we're going to talk about some great stuff. And all around great guy in the industry. So it's always nice to talk to people like-minded as well. And without further ado, the big pain in the ass, he's going to ask for autograph. I'm going to have to turn him down. But nonetheless, he's a great guy. Let's please welcome Franky Corcoran to the podcast. How you doing, man?
Good. I still want your autograph. I'm gonna be grilling you for that for the next 20 minutes or so. So hope just mail it to me. I'll give you all my information via email.
Don't worry. My agent will reach out to you. We'll set that up.
He's outside my door right now. He's like, "Oh, I got the information."
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I said I had a bone to pick with you. So it's not really you, but since you live in Canada, you're part of it. So I'm sure you're aware, but the wildfires or whatever's going on over there is blowing into my city, New York, and I have asthma. And it's been a couple times that the smoke has caused me to stay inside. Y'all trying to smoke us out. Y'all trying to smoke out the most charismatic man. What is going on over there, man?
I would never do that to you on purpose. That's why anytime something like that's going on, I just barricade myself in my house and just stick to podcasting because I'm like I don't want to be front page news and Franky Corcoran caused this or Franky Corcoran caused that. So I'm just like I just stay in my little bubble here in Canada. What is a ghost? I'm pale. I don't go outside. But like it's crazy how all those are going. And I had no idea that you have asthma too.
Yeah, born and raised with it. So that hasn't stopped me from vaping though. Well, let me clarify. I was vaping during the pandemic. I kind of weaned out from it, but
before we started filming, he was just
get a cigarette. Why are you spilling the cigarette? Come on, man. Now my manager going to drop me.
There's cigarette smoke blowing in the background. You can't see it, but
oh God, I hate cigarettes. I tried it one time in college. Never again. Disgusting.
That's why I stick to cigars. It's just like just puff,
I've had one. One of my longtime college buddies in Long Island. Every time I go out there, he goes to a cigar shop. I've tried, man. I think I enjoyed one time. I think it was junior college, but I can't do it. It messes with my psyche. It puts me. Same thing with, the green, the lettuce. I can't do it lettuce. Either. Yeah, I can't do it either. I tried.
And I'll be honest, I never smoked it. It's legal here in Canada. I've never smoked it like ever.
Is it?
I've just And we got quite a few weed shops around here actually too. So, but I mean, I've never smoked it myself personally. I've just, some people, I mean, like I personally, I honestly have no problem with people doing it. I mean, it's legal. It's, do whatever you want kind of thing. But just for me, it was always, stick to booze and cigars. That's how I, that's how I.
I can't fault you on that. And it's funny because I've been living I was living in LA for 4 years, and man, I swear even at the gym, people was coming, in the parking lot smoking a joint before working out. And it's funny because earlier last week, I work out at this local park. I was leaving, and the doorman for this building right next to the park, he was outside smoking a joint in his outfit. I'm like, what is going on here? But I was laughing when it was Friday, because I remember he was like, "Hey man, I see you all the time," and I said, I see what you're doing." He's like, "Yeah man, thank God it's Friday." So I was like, "Hey, no judgment."
Just a long ass week, man. That'll do it to
you. But let's, for the sake of the kids and TMZ, let's skip from that. But like I said, great guy. I had a great conversation with you, but I'm on the other side. You're on my podcast. So let's do this. Let's start from the beginning for you. How did you come up with, obviously it's your last name, but how did you come up with Corcoran Entertainment, and what's that journey been like for you?
Well, I started Corcoran Entertainment. For as everybody who knows me around, Miramichi and surrounding areas know that I'm very involved with community theater. I started theater back when I was in high school from grade 9. Did it all 4 years of high school. Even after high school, I continued to do theater amongst many of the troops around here, like with CM Productions, Friends of Bears Island. We always do all kinds of shows together. And I always had an interest in writing shows, but I never really had the drive to do it. And so it was around the time when COVID hit. And of course, I had all these projects planned. We were going to do all kinds of different shows in 2020. And then, of course, COVID hit and shut it down. So I said, okay, I said, like, my big passion, I can't do it anymore because of, the pandemic, and I don't know when we're going to be able to do it again. So I went back to the whole playwriting idea, and, just to pass the time, just, kind of keep my mind occupied. And went from I took some courses with Paul Pedito of Screenwriters University. Shout out to you, Paul, who's been on my podcast a couple of times. Great guy. He knows the business inside and out. Worked with Callista Flockhart actually as well too. So very good guy.
Nice.
And he showed me the ropes. And after the course, we stayed in touch. He put me in contact with his brother Christopher. Shout out to you as well, Christopher, from the River Rep Arts Center. It's a theater company in New York. And I would just always send them scripts, and I'd always get lots of good feedback from them, and basically just went from there. So then when we were slowly able to start doing theater productions with smaller crowds and stuff, I thought, why no sense in writing a script and just putting it on a shelf and no one will ever see it. I said, why not just put some of it on? So went to my director, my mentor, Chris Matheson. Shout out to you as well, Chris. I'm doing all kinds of shout outs today. And of course, I got some inspiration from my uncle Donnie Bowes from the Upper Canada Playhouse in Morrisburg. And they've been two of my role models and mentors in pursuing this path, and got some advice from them, what goes into directing and theater production and stuff, and basically just went from there. So I mean, I've done quite a few productions now. Wrote and directed some. My last production actually was Tick Tick Boom. That's of course Jonathan Larson, who made Rent. We did that. That was our last production, very successful. Nice. And so that's kind of how it started. And from there on, I just kept it going. And I remember it was funny. Chris Matheson, he actually had said to me, he said, so doing your first play and directing your first play, this will be the moment where you decide, do I want to keep doing this, or is it too much for me? I can't handle it. After the first production, I was like, all right, next production, let's get it started. So just went on from there, and I got lots more ideas to come. So yeah, that's kind of where it all started.
Wow. That's interesting. I don't think I've ever at least that I can remember, an actor, someone who started off as an actor and then went into that. Now, obviously, people do that, but you're the first person I know who actually done that. And let me tell you something. I always give my respects to the people, the writers, the directors, and all that stuff, because from my senior capstone, I had to direct, cast, put up a whole play for myself. And luckily, it was only 30 minutes, but I'm telling you, man, it was the most grueling thing I've done. It was like, having to do auditions, casting actors, finding the script, rewriting the script so, is able to go up on stage, rehearsals, figuring out costumes, direction. Man, it was a great 3-month process. And 30 minutes, it sounds, 30 minutes is nothing. But when you're talking about putting it up for people, yeah, it's a lot of work. You wear a lot of hats. And that's why for me, I've always appreciated people behind the scenes, because most people, when they think of the big Marvel movies and stuff, they only think about the actors, the Chris Hemsworth and stuff, me, which I'll be there soon. But the people behind the scenes are the one that also makes these productions work. Without the writers, without the directors, those type of people, you wouldn't see those type of movies flourish, because everybody has a role. Is that something that you still struggle with? I'm just curious. When we think, like I said, the big stars and all that stuff, are you ever envious of, man, I wish I got the same credit the actors did, or are you content with where you are?
No, I'm very content with. I mean, obviously, of course. I mean, I do take a lot of pride in what I do and what I put up, because I mean, definitely, it's one thing. I mean, I definitely love to give the actors like a majority of the credit. I mean, like I do pat myself on the back as well, and be like, oh, okay, like, Frankie, like, don't sell yourself short. I mean, like, you brought everyone together, and I'm like, yeah, that's true. But if these people weren't around, I wouldn't even be able to do this at all. You know what I mean? So, I will pat myself on the back and just say, yeah, like, I'm very proud of myself for what I did, but really a lot of it goes towards the people involved, and the people like the actors, people who work behind the scenes, people who work my canteen as well. So like it's really such a collaborative process that, I mean, like, yeah, of course I'll take a moment to kind of look back at it and be very, very proud of myself, but then I definitely want to make sure that credit where credit is due. Like, these guys, the people that I casted, like, I could just have a script written, and people could just not see it because I could have nobody around to do it. But because of the people that I got to play those parts, and then we're able to bring the story to life, that's really what it's all about. So that's why I always give like all my credit to my actors for agreeing to take direction from me, for agreeing to take time out of their lives to bring my vision and my story to life. So I mean, yeah, like, credit where credit is due. I mean, like, definitely be proud of what you've done, but also just keep for me, it's important to keep in mind who helped you get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm glad you said that. And, I appreciate that you took the time to shout, even though they're not paying me. So whoever you shouted out, cough up that. No, I'm kidding. No, but, it's great that you shouted out people. And I do it all the time. I think it's always important to show respect and give gratitude to people that helped you. I don't talk about my acting journey too much, just because, this podcast is not just about me, but, there's been times with my buddy Odie, I said on yours, and I've said it a couple times, he's told me a lot. John Voight, I met him right after I graduated from college, when I started my transition to TV and film. I had a couple TV film roles, couple small ones, maybe, some background work. And I remember meeting John Voight. It was on the HBO show. I think it was Succession. I met him on, and we was doing the underground fight scene. And I remember I was talking to him because he was in the background for this one scene, but he was still a major part in the scene itself. And during one of the takes, after they took a break, I was talking to him, and one of the things he asked, he said, how long you been doing it? And I told him my journey and all that stuff. And he said, the most important thing that you do is use this time wisely, and what he meant by that is a lot of people when they do background work, they just do it for the money. They just do it, just quick paycheck. And he was saying, if you want to be an actor, this is a great tool. Learn the business. You get to learn the behind the scenes, what it takes to do a scene. And this was like a 15-hour day. Obviously, he had to stay that long, but he said, enjoy the process and don't give up. Hard work pays off. And ever since then, that's always instilled to me. And I met a couple other celebrities along the way, just talking on sets and giving me advice and all that stuff. And it's helped me become who I am today because it helped me understand TV and film. I was a theater actor before that for many years. So it took a long time for me to understand the different business side and also just how the industry is way different from theater to film. But with that being said, though, I do want to ask you, because I'm an actor too. I've interviewed a couple other actors, directors, and stuff, but I never had a writer. What is the hardest part about being a writer?
Well, hardest part I would say would definitely be structuring a play. I think for me that's probably the biggest challenge is because that's why so many people that I know or like some of the lessons that were taught in some of the courses were start off with writing a 1-act play and then go from there, because writing a full 2-act play, that was my first big thing. I had this big idea. I wanted to do this big 3-act play. As soon as I started, it's like, okay, well, I'm new at this. I can't just pump out a 3-act play, not having done that before. So really it's, like starting small. So like, just structuring like story wise, because you'll like story beats will change like several times. Like that's why I started writing off and producing just a couple of 1-act plays where it was much easier to change, because luckily if I change something at the start, okay, there's not a whole lot that it won't change, because if I start, let's say about midway through like a 20-minute 1-act play, then okay, if I change a big plot point that happens like 15 minutes in, okay, it's not going to change too much, just I just might have to change the ending. But if you start with a 2-act play and something changes and you're like, oh shit, now I gotta go redo, like I gotta rethink this whole process. So now there's been a couple points where that happened, so I'm glad that I started off doing some 1-act plays, and I've written a few more. But definitely 2-act plays I like to do, because I really do like a challenge. I really love a good challenge. Even the play, I'm currently acting in a play with CM Productions that's coming. I'll do a little plug for it. August 17th to the 20th, Ken Ludwig's Leading Ladies. It's basically a farce, and it's just nonstop, like just constant slapstick humor. I love that stuff because it challenges you. It challenges you as an actor. It challenges you. It really makes you better, I find, and that's why I like a good challenge. And so I really divert my attention to writing like full 2-act plays and doing the real ambitious shows like farces and stuff. But to answer your question, the most challenging part is structure, because as I said, you change one story beat, then it's all over again. You're like, oh shit, well now I have to rethink how this person said that or what that line means. And so that's why one thing I do is I workshop my scripts. I'll get some people together. Once I get my final draft done, we'll read it all, just hear how it sounds out loud, because there will be lots of things that on paper in your head it sounds good, but then once you say it out loud, you're like, oh my god, that sounds so cringy, like nobody talks like that. So that's why I definitely learned to start workshopping all my stuff. But structure I think is the hardest part. The best part is writing the dialogue, because once you know where the story's going, it's like, okay, the hard part's done. Now it's just writing the dialogue, which for all the shows that I do, I basically set them in Miramichi, like where I live, write how people talk. So it's almost like I'm just writing how a normal conversation here in Miramichi would go. So structure definitely. Like once you get the structure down, you're pretty much gold, in my opinion.
Ooh, yeah, it's I like I said, I just had to rework that piece I was doing for my capstone, and rough, man. I would, hats off, because I couldn't do it. That's just not something. I think you have to love it, and you have to have an eye for it. I don't have that type of eye for it, so I'll stay in my lane. I'll stay in front of the camera, printing it up for the people. But that leads me to something that it's been something I wanted to talk about, but it actually having you on makes it easy to talk about. Being a writer, the writer strike is happening. A lot of people, I think the average person don't realize the impact, or rather why writers are striking. And, people are, missing their favorite TV shows right now because everything stopped filming for the most part. I think Canada and the UK, they have a different rule regarding that. But most of the production shooting in the United States are shut down because of the writer strike and the SAG strike. So, for me, I would ask you, because I fully support it. I understand why it's happening. AI is becoming a huge thing. And it's going to threaten a lot of people's jobs, especially writers, because AI is essentially able to write, essays for the most part, write people's papers if they want to. Now, you might have, someone or the person who's using it fine tune it, but it's making writers, especially in the entertainment industry, is going to change the job market for them, and it's going to cause job shortages, lack of money. It's going to be a thing that really destroys the entertainment industry. So, let me ask you, how do you feel about the writer strike? Is that something? Because I know you in Canada, so you may not be too 100% about it, but how do you feel about it?
I mean, I completely get it. I mean, of course, in Canada, I mean, it's a little different, but I mean, just reading about it at first, I was kind of like, I was always in the mindset, oh, come on, guys, like it's you must be getting good money. I mean, like me not knowing very much, I was like, oh yeah, this whole thing will blow over in like a week or two. Same with COVID. Oh, it's fine, it'll blow over in a week, and then just boom, here it is now, everything shut down. But no, I mean, like that's what it's one thing, because we always tend to take for granted that as you said, like with Marvel and stuff like that, people are always looking at, oh, the Chris Hemsworth and the Chris Evans and Chris Pratt, like all the Chris's, Robert Downey Jr. and Tom Holland and all them. They're always looking at them, but they're not really thinking about the people who, like John Watts and Kevin Feige and all those people who are writing these stories. You know what I mean? Like without a good script, you can't put quality TV together. I mean, like look at something like Breaking Bad. You know what I mean? Like sure, the actors are amazing, but if they don't have a good script to follow, what do you you know what I mean? Like that's what keeps people engaged. I mean, a good show or a TV show can fall apart no matter how good your cast is. You can have some of the best actors in the world, like top A-list actors, Oscar-nominated, Emmy Award-winning actors. But if you don't have a good script and the writing is just awful, then it just goes downhill. Like I could name a ton of shows off by hand where I'm thinking like, what's that actor doing on? They're way too good to be on the show, and that's because the writing. You know what I mean? Like it all lies within the writing. So I 100% agree, like with what people are doing, and I know it sucks that a lot of the shows that we like now are being delayed. But at the end of the day, we got to look at it from their point of view. Like they want, I mean, it will be the same deal with like, like some company around here, like I don't know, like a mill or a construction company or something like that going on strike. I mean, like people can look at it and say, oh, all these projects are being shut down, like all these building projects because they're on strike. Well, at the end of the day, they got a family to support too. You know what I mean? Like they want to be fairly compensated. Like that's really all that it lies in. So yeah, I 100% agree with it. And I mean, I hope it gets resolved as soon as humanly possible. But I mean, at the end of the day, as long as the writers get what they deserve, then that's ultimately where my hopes lie. Like I really hope that they get what they deserve, and that it doesn't destroy the entertainment industry. Because really, like you're looking at these like top executives, like these big companies where the CEO has got like $1 billion, $1 billion in his bank account. Meanwhile, your writers are walking away with like peanuts. You know what I mean? It's just
Right.
not fair. So yeah, hopefully it gets solved as soon as possible. But as long as the writers get what they deserve, then I'm all for it going as long as they need to.
Yeah, I had a phone call with my manager last week about it, because I've always been, as soon as I heard about it, I've been in tune with it. And then obviously SAG, the union, the actors union joined in, for people who don't know what SAG is. And I say this, the average person, I understand, they're not going to understand this because, unless you're involved somewhere in a capacity or you're interested in the entertainment industry, you're probably not going to understand why it's such a big deal. But I find it odd that other actors or other people in the entertainment industry are complaining about it. And I say that, with respect, I'm not calling anybody on anything, but realistically, like you said, people got, bills, people got family, people have overhead. And I think for the writers, I think it's truly important because a lot of these contracts, even with SAG, were made before the rise of AI. And it's funny because I was having this conversation with a buddy. 20 years ago, 20 years ago, I Robot with Will Smith came out, right? 40 years ago, Terminator 2 Judgment Day came out, right? Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines came out. Both of those movies had to deal with robots and AI, artificial intelligence, right? Who would have thought in 2023 that this is actually a conversation? It's funny because I was telling my girlfriend about this, and it was like the fact that we even have these conversations is mind blowing to think about. That hey, there's AI already available, and the only reason why I really became in tune with AI, the store I go to right near where I'm staying at, living at, the guy that works there, he was asking me about the entertainment industry. He wanted to check out my website and stuff. And he said, "Hey, yo, I got something for you. Do you need your website and certain information rewrote to be a little more of a aesthetic that you want?" I said, "Sure, I'll try it out. Why not?" I don't know what app he used, but it was AI digitally altering thing. So I copy and paste all the information I wanted to rewrite, send it to him. He said, "Hey, do you want it? Do you want it more for the entertainment industry? Do you want it more scholarly, more education?" I told him what I wanted. 30 seconds later, night and day. Night and day to where it was so much better that I couldn't even come up with that in 30 seconds. It's mind blowing. And that's the stuff that for the average person, yeah, is useful. But for writers, think about your favorite TV shows, your favorite movies. What is going to happen? A lot of these companies, like you said, who makes all this money, they're looking at, hey, we don't need 5 writers for Game of Thrones. We don't need 6 writers to do the Saturday Night Live. We don't need writers, multiple writers to do another popular show happening right now. Instead, we have AI. So instead of 5 people, you know what? Everybody else, I'm gonna keep 2. Everybody else fired. Go look for employment somewhere else. You 2, we'll keep you on, but instead of your 700, just a number, $700,000 salary, we're gonna, we got AI. We'll give you 300. That's the best we can do, right? And for the average person, they might say, "Hey, that's a lot of money." But you also got to remember, a lot of these people, that's their livelihood, that's their work. Plus, they have a lifestyle. They have, bills to maintain. They have expenses. So,
Kids.
And kids too. And that's the important part. Yeah, for the average person, they might look and say, "Hey, Denzel Washington is getting $30 million for a movie role." But they don't realize other actors are struggling. They're not, a lot of actors have survival jobs, full-time jobs. They got kids to feed, they got families. Luckily, I'm not in that boat yet. But it is a problem, right? And like I said, SAG joined the strike too. And it's definitely a battle of money. Do you think that the reason why all of this stuff is happening is because of AI, or do you think it's really money is like the root of all of it.
Well, AI definitely has a huge, I mean, like, I'm sure it's a good combination of both, but I mean, definitely AI is definitely a huge problem because, I mean, like, as you said, I mean, like, a room of like, let's say 9 writers. Okay, yeah, like, we're going to get rid of 5 of yous. We'll keep the rest of yous on because, we got the AI bot basically, but yeah, I'd say that's where a lot of it comes from. But then also, I mean, um, the writers, I mean, like, one thing people forget too, I mean, the actors take all the bows and everything, but you watch like a show on Disney Plus or Netflix and stuff like that, any type of streaming service. Uh, just think about, okay, yeah, all the hard work that goes into that, like writing the script and everything. The reason why you're so entertained is being put on by people who are being immensely underpaid and immensely underappreciated. So I mean, I think that's where a lot of it might come from. But I'd say more so it's the AI. But I think there's definitely, I'd say probably about 80% AI, and I put like the other 20% on just money basically, because yeah, I find the writers can get overlooked quite a bit in that situation. I mean, some writers get all kinds of bows depending on like who it is or what the project is, but
Right.
yeah, basically, yeah, that's where I stand on that. I'd say it's a little bit of both. I mean, like, probably leaning a lot more towards the AI aspect, but definitely, I'm sure money would be a bit of an issue because, yeah, sure, the actors are taking all the bows. That's what people are seeing. Like with Marvel, all they're seeing is just Robert Downey Jr. and Tom Holland and Chris Hemsworth and all that. They're not seeing, John Watts, the guy, or Amy Pascal, or any of them. Like, they're the ones who really brought it all together. So, fair is fair. Like, I think they deserve equal pay. Absolutely. So definitely, I'd say both.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do feel for the writers, and I stand with them because they are overlooked. And I think a lot of people, even a lot of actors, overlook writers. It's definitely a job that people see as you're expendable. We can find somebody else. Well, actors are expendable too. Unless you're a big household name, you're replaceable too. And I think that's the key point. And I agree with you. I would say most of it is AI because on the actor side, I would say a lot of it is money more on the actor side than it's the writers. But AI is also going to affect actors because it came out that they're actually working on a digitally rendering people's likeness, for productions and then paying them a day salary. So I know for background that's like what they're trying to do. So essentially for background actor, right? Let's say you get called to do background for a TV show. Background essentially when you watch your favorite TV shows, the main guy of the TV show, he goes into a coffee shop. The guy sitting sitting at one of the tables. He's a background actor. What they want to do is use people's digital likeness and use that for the film without having you there and pay you less, but pay you for a day of work. And that's an issue because a lot of celebrities have come out talking about how they've been approached for these type of services. Now imagine if a company says, hey, we don't need to pay Will Smith his requested rate of 15 million. We get a digital rendering of him instead of 15. Hey, Will Smith, you don't got to come to set. You don't got to do nothing. We'll use your likeness. We'll give you 3 million. How about that? Does that sound fair? Okay, that might sound good, because you don't got to lift the finger. You sitting at home getting a paycheck. But what's going to happen is it's going to cost less opportunities. Your value is going to diminish. And that's why I'm glad a lot of celebrities are speaking out about it, because Tom Cruise, I know he came out recently talking about how it's going to AI and all that stuff is going to impact stunt workers, stunt actors, stunt performers, and action movies, all that stuff, because now everything is CGI based, right? Everything can be digitally altered. So what is stopping them from using that to their advantage? One is cheaper cost. Two, pay you less. Three, it saves them money. So a average movie costs now $250 million with AI and CGI and all that stuff. If all this happens, those budgets go way down, profits go way up, and people get paid less. And that's essentially what's happening. And even if you don't understand that, it's happening in the real world. I went to Pennsylvania a couple weeks ago to I think it was Giants. It was a grocery market, and they have robots running around in those stores where you could go up to it, scan the items, ask it questions. It's happening, and I know some restaurants even have robots delivering food to you now. Some McDonald's are fully automated. They may have 1 or 2 people on the clock, but a lot of the stores are becoming digitally becoming its own machine. I know San Francisco, I didn't even know about this until last week, but San Francisco has 2 companies. I can't remember the name of it, but they self-driving cars. So essentially you open the app, it's Uber, for instance, right? You request a ride. When the car shows up, there's nobody in it. It's just a car and I guess whoever's programming the directions and stuff. So essentially, you're getting a ride through. You're just sitting in the car by yourself. There's nobody driving. You can't ask nobody questions. It just takes you where you need to go. It's going to change society, and
that's trippy, though. Really,
it is trippy.
I'm just thinking about that. Like, you call for an Uber, a car comes up, like one of those self-driving cars, or whatever. You get in, there's nobody in the driver. I'm like, I wouldn't feel comfortable. I'd just be like, all right, see you, buddy. I'm walking. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not getting in there. I don't know who's driving that. Are they going to drive me where I need to go? Or are they going to drive me off a bridge?
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. And it's one of those things where there's still some fine tuning that needs to happen, of course. And I know there was an incident a couple of weeks ago where there's a whole group of people out there who are fighting against it because they don't like how technology is becoming, such a huge thing. But it's here. I mean, San Francisco is proving that self-driving cars is a real thing. Apparently, it's going to start making its way to LA and a couple other spots on the West Coast. But it's here. I mean, Tesla, I've been guilty pleasure. I'm not going to lie. Guilty pleasure. I've been watching YouTube self-driving tutorials. People in the car, they put in a location and the car drives itself there. And yeah, this is still a little quirks that need to be fixed, but I've seen people, have the car drive 45 minutes, no issue. Maybe once or twice they have to check in, but they just sit back and relax. I mean, it's crazy, and I think it's a huge thing. But to digress back to writing and all that stuff, do you think that there is a solution coming, or do you think this is going to be a while? This is going to be something that drags out for the next probably well into 2024?
I mean, at least I hope it doesn't go that far. I mean, it's definitely hard to say because, I mean, I didn't really expect the strike to go on as long as it did. I was expecting it to blow over in like a week or two. But I'd say give it maybe about another couple months. I'd say, because I mean, something like this, I can't see them caving so easily. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just can't see it being that easy. But I mean, as I said, hopefully as soon as possible, because I mean, there's no entertainment world. I mean, obviously there's old entertainment stuff, but I mean, there won't be nothing new until the writers get what's coming to them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Get what they deserve. But I mean, hopefully, I mean, it's like kind of hard to say. I remember I was talking about this on my podcast before. I said I could predict when it's going to end, but I mean, it's really hard to say. It's really all a matter of I mean, even around here where I am, there was a few strikes going on for a couple different organizations with people on strike looking for fair pay. Some of them lasted 3 weeks. Some of them lasted longer. Some of them lasted shorter. It really just all depends on the people who they are striking against, whether they're going to cave, or if they cave, how long it's going to take. So yeah, unpredictable. But if I had to say, I'd say maybe give it another couple months. I just can't see it being that easy. Hopefully it doesn't go on to 2024. I don't think it will, but I mean, we'll see how it goes. Because I mean, of course, there's a part of me that wants to see all of our favorite shows and movies get back to work. I mean, obviously, Deadpool 3 is coming out next year, and
Can't wait.
I'm so psyched. And I mean, less than a year now, and now production's halted. Did you see the picture of Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman in costume?
Oh yeah,
I saw that, and then I saw the writer's strike pushed it, I said, come on, guys, really? I said, you like dangle the carrot in front of us. So, I mean, there's that part of me, of course, that's like wants it to get wrapped up as soon as humanly possible so we can get Deadpool 3, so we can get, all of our favorite shows and movies. But we'll see how it goes. Fingers crossed. And let's just hope that they get what they really deserve.
Yeah, I'm hoping next couple months. I don't want to be selfish. I think some people are looking at it through selfish. Hey, I want to get back to work. I need to make some money. I want to get back on TV, which rightfully so. I'm right there with you. But at the same time, I was having this conversation with another actor where it's like, think about the long-term aspects. Yeah, right now we just want to get back and get back to auditioning and get back to those opportunities. But realistically, I have friends who's been in the industry a long time, and they've, a lot older than me, but they have told me like, hey, some of them even went on Instagram. Hey, I had to pick up a full-time job because the money wasn't paying the bills anymore. I have a family to feed. Rent is due, and the money's just not there. So it's very important this strike. Hopefully it doesn't take that long. I'm hoping this fall it'll have a resolution, but I think it really just comes down to people, everybody, the executives, mostly the people in suits. They need to realize, hey, just share the money, share the pie with everybody. That's really the result of AI and all that stuff. We can always work out, we can always work that out. But the money thing is really a big thing, because even if we figure out AI first, right? If they still don't want to be, sharing the pie, you're still going to be left hungry. So yeah, you solve one thing, but money is essential. And I think that's one of the biggest things is the money. You shouldn't be a full-time writer of a TV show and having to work Uber Eats or DoorDash to, support yourself. The days of, yeah, there's a period of being a starving artist. That's a thing. But when you're writing for Ted Lasso and you're doing Uber Eats because you can't afford to, that's a problem. That's a huge problem.
100%. Imagine like Harrison Ford doing that at his age. You know what I mean?
No,
like,
God.
Unreal. Like, that's how you know it's bad.
Yeah,
not that he is doing it, but I mean, if it does get to that point where you have these A-list, biggest stars in the world having to, do DoorDash and stuff to make a living, yeah, there is a serious problem.
Yeah, it's rough, and this is a lot. I mean, we could talk about this all day. It's very complex, but the average person, I think, even for actors too, writers too, people look at like the Tom Cruises, the Dwayne Johnsons of the world. They say, oh, they make a lot of money. Yeah, but you're talking about the Bill Gates of their, division. You're talking about the people at the upper echelon. Of course, they're making all that money. But what about everybody else? A lot of, like I said, just because it's an art doesn't mean you don't get paid for your art. You're going to tell me you go to a Picasso. If he was alive, you go to Picasso and tell him, hey, I'm going to pay you less than what you value your work. No, he's not going to accept that, because you need to get paid for your work. And that's essentially what's happening, which leads me to another question. A big thing, especially for the actors, streaming services. Everybody loves Netflix. I got my HBO. I got my Amazon Prime and all that stuff. But streaming services has changed the game for the industry. Writers, actors, everybody alike. Now, here's the issue, though. Because of streaming services, like I said, a lot of these contracts, the issue that stems with it is that these contracts was pre-streaming. So now that streaming services are in the up and up, thanks to COVID, changed the game for everybody. Do you think that streaming services is going to help or hurt the entertainment industry? Meaning like the movie theater experience and all that stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it kind of already has. I mean, you look at some movies now. I mean, obviously, of course, we had The Flash that just came out. Amazing movie. I really, really like The Flash. Had a few issues with it, but overall, great movie. I was surprised it bombed. I was shocked that it bombed. Now, I mean, of course, there were some controversies. Of course, Ezra Miller and a few bad reviews probably tainted that a little bit. But I mean, also, look at like Indiana Jones 5. I was so shocked that one didn't make nearly as much as. Yeah. But then again, I think another problem with that is, of course, the big budgets. I mean, I was looking up. Indy 5 was like $300 million to make, and like
Really?
unreal. I remember seeing that. I'm like, okay, maybe that's why it bombed, because I mean, well, I was shocked because Indiana Jones 5, it's been like what 30 like 20 years since the last one came out. So I figured it was going to be 800 million, like, you know, people would just be dying to see it, but no, it was like $300 million budget. It made like 250 some, if I'm not mistaken.
That's
like
wait,
that's
so it's a box
bad.
office bomb.
Box office bomb, yeah.
Wow.
I mean, like, I could be wrong. That was the last time I checked it, but I mean, I can't imagine it's gone up since then. But then again, I mean, like, there are some exceptions. I mean, of course, the Mario movie just came out as well too, and that's one of the biggest animated films. I think the biggest animated movie of all time, if I'm not mistaken. So I mean, there is that. I mean, we'll always have the odd movie that succeeds and everything, but I do think streaming has a lot to do with it, because there are some movies. Like I remember Ted 2 was one that comes off the top of my head. The first Ted, of course, with Seth MacFarlane and Mark Wahlberg, it was such a huge hit. It was like the highest grossing comedy of all time. Highest grossing R-rated comedy. So like it was like 600 million. I'm like, that, like $600 million for an R-rated comedy, that's pretty damn good. And then Ted 2 didn't bomb, but it didn't make as much as people wanted to. And I hear a big part of it was because the movie, some people were like pirating it. It leaked online or something like that. So I mean, like, not that that's the same as streaming, but I mean, like, if it's online, people are going to say, well, do I want to go to the movie theater and spend, like, you know, all that money on popcorn and tickets when I can just pop it up on my phone and watch it there? Like, I think that's where a lot of it lies too. I mean, like, not just streaming, but I mean, I think like pirating, like people still pirate. I think that's crazy that people still do that. Like, come on, support the people who make these shows and movies. And I mean, even I noticed, like, I have AMC Plus. I keep up with The Walking Dead content and everything. There's definitely such a huge change since now, of course, Walking Dead might not be a good comparison exactly, because the reason the ratings dropped on that is because of a few fans upset with the direction. But I mean, like, when you're going from 17 million views on episode to 6 million, and then now with streaming, you're down to like 1 million. Like, that's pretty, like, wow. Now, obviously, I know AMC Plus and the streaming services, like, they be doing pretty good, but I mean, like, cable TV and stuff, like, who watches cable? I'm
not.
I say to someone, I'm like, yeah, like, a show's coming on. I can't remember what show I was watching at the time, but they're like, you still watch cable? Like, why not just watch it on TV the next day? I'm like, yeah, it's true. But I mean, like, you know, I still kind of I like the experience of watching it live. You know, I'm old school. I kind of like it that way. But I think that's a lot of the problem. Like, before, people would watch, like, my God, I remember when I was in high school, Walking Dead was like the biggest thing, people watching it every Sunday night. And now it's, yeah, like, if people are still watching it, yeah, I'll watch it on AMC Plus tomorrow. Like, you know what I mean? It's like nobody keeps up with it live anymore, which is sad. And I do think streaming has had a huge impact on it. But at the same time, it is a little more convenient, definitely, I think, streaming. But it is a shame, because I know, like, there are lots of movies that you want to experience it in a movie theater. Like, if I wouldn't be able to watch a movie like Avengers Endgame at home by myself. I'm like, I want to see Avengers Endgame and Spider-Man No Way Home in theaters with people having those crazy reactions to people coming out of portals and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, that's really where what it's all about. So it's definitely a shame, but I do think streaming had a huge impact on it. But in a way, it is very, it's more convenient, I would say.
Yeah, I got a couple things. First of all, anybody who's spending money on popcorn at the movie theater, God bless you. I'm gonna give this some. You know, FBI might be listening. TMZ, if you're listening, here's your scoop. You know, ever since I was in middle school, I was taught this, so I still do it. You know, if I'm hungry, actually, I'll tell you a funny story. When I was in college, this is the most outrageous thing that happened. And this is how I really got back into it, because for a while I stopped doing it. But I remember this college athlete dude. I think he was soccer. He was playing soccer. This dude brought in a whole case of beer into the movie theater. And I you know, for college, for D1 at least, sport, they give you like these big coats, you know, varsity coats. So he used to bring in 6 packs of beer, a couple Subway sandwiches. I remember one time he snuck in a whole pizza. He just tucked it on the side. And, you know, I'm guilty of doing that. I'm not gonna lie. Especially living in New York, a bucket of popcorn and a drink, it's like $20 is like, just as much as the cost of a ticket. So I think streaming has changed the game. I think one of the reasons is it spoiled people, right? Because during the pandemic, you was able to see Justice League and all these high-end movies that would be theater experiences on HBO Max or whatever in a couple weeks. Sometimes even directly straight to the streaming services. So I think coupled with the rising cost of the movie theater experience, to the comfort of watching everything at the tips of your finger, and knowing that the content is eventually going to go onto these websites anyway, people are like, hey, why spend almost half my rent money to go to movie theaters when I can just watch it at home? And I'm not gonna lie, it's definitely something, even for me, I'm guilty of doing. I'm not a hypocrite. I'm guilty of doing it too, where instead of waiting to, going to the movie to watch it, I just say, hey, I already know it's going to be up in a month. I'll just watch it then. But I will say too, I think Barbie and Oppenheimer are the two greatest movies to come out recently. Not because I haven't watched them yet, but I say that because they understood promotion. And I think that's one of the issues during the pandemic. The movie industry changed because a lot of people started getting lazy with promotions, right? Some people, they would, make a couple Instagram posts, hey, go watch the movie. That was it, right? But Oppenheimer and Barbie really it's crazy to say two movies that are popular for the audience that they're going for actually kind of helped each other. Barbie, yeah, I mean, they didn't compete with each other. I know Tom Cruise had his own thing because that's a whole nother thing. But it's really like to see them two come together, make such amazing promotional marketing materials, supporting each other. That's why they just dominating the box office. Who would have thought Barbie would be one of the top grossing movies of this, right now? Nobody.
And you have everybody going to see it. Like, it's unbelievable. I have so many people like friends saying, so we going to see Barbie? We want to see Barbie? I'm like, oh, like, okay, all right. I haven't seen it yet, but we plan on it.
Yeah, I haven't watched it. I know everybody wants me to go see it. I'll probably end up going to driving or something. But I will also say on top of that, one of the reasons, and I've been open on it, look at me. I got the hair, the charisma, the good look. I want to do superhero movies is my calling call, right? But I will also say Marvel has ruined it too. And I say that with respect because I love Marvel. Everybody loves Marvel. But, just for 1 second, indulge me. Marvel has made superhero movies like the prime time movie experience. Now, like even for you, when you say I can't watch any game at home, I gotta go to the movie theater. Spider-Man, I gotta go to the movie theater. Most other movies you're not thinking about. If I asked you outside of Marvel movies last year, what other movies came out? Most people couldn't tell you. Maybe 1 or 2 people out of 10 might give you an answer. But most people don't go to movie theaters besides to go see Marvel or some type of superhero movie, right? And Marvel, for as much as they have made such a global brand and made phenomenal movies, even for them, they're struggling too to captivate, to get people to be captivated by their product, because once phase 1, 2, and 3 ended, when Captain America, all of them died off or went into retirement, even they started struggling with numbers because it was hard for them to keep up with that appeal. People got spoiled. People's got so used to the end games, the Captain Americas, the Iron Man type of movies, that it was hard for them to make people care about some of these other characters. And Marvel too has suffered from, not to go too all over the place, but it's actually a question I want to ask you too. But Marvel has been criticized for lack of writing too. Garbage writing, garbage material, or I would say garbage material, but not great writing, not great script writing. Dialogues has been pretty awful. Thor, Love and Thunder.
I was literally just thinking that. I was just thinking it. You don't have
I'm
to.
sorry,
copy.
Chris Hemsworth. I'm sorry,
I'm sorry,
man. I'm probably not going to get an invite to dinner next week, but you know, like, but let me ask you, do you think that writing has really for the movie theater experience, streaming and all that stuff, do you think writing is one of the biggest issues that people are having with the entertainment industry? Because, shout out to all the writers who are working hard, but lately I've seen a lot of people criticizing movies, directions, storylines because the writing hasn't been great, and other factors too. But do you think writing has really suffered in the last couple years?
I mean, really, it varies, in my opinion. It really, really varies, depending on the genre and the screenwriter and stuff. I mean, like as you mentioned with Marvel, I mean, of course, Endgame. Before Endgame, it was like every single Marvel movie that came out just kept elevating from there. This one was good, this one was even better, and then after Endgame, it didn't dip because I mean, of course, No Way Home was absolutely phenomenal. I love No Way Home. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is one of my favorite Marvel movies right now. So I mean, definitely I'd be lying if I said it's not, because obviously I'm saying like those two movies were great. But before, when Marvel is going from like hit after hit after hit after hit, this movie's better than this, where it goes from Endgame, and then it goes to Spider-Man Far From Home, which was good, but then No Way Home. Okay, now I'm on there. Now Guardians 3, so it's not quite getting better and better with each one. So something like Marvel, I mean, thank you for bringing up Thor: Love and Thunder, because I couldn't even finish it, to be honest with you. I thought it was garbage. I thought it was garbage. Where I think a lot of Marvel's problem now is they're relying too much on just silly humor, and it doesn't work for a lot of it. Like where it's just something serious will happen and then funny moment. Something like Guardians of the Galaxy, they already established that from the beginning that these are a silly group of misfits kind of thing, but then Guardians 3 was still able to tug at your heartstrings and stuff. I still haven't recovered. I won't spoil it for people, but no, like so yeah, it really just depends, I guess, on the filmmaker and stuff of that. I mean, what's one I'm just trying to think of. Well, some of it too is it can be like just movies that are like for franchises that have gone on too long as well. I mean, I say
Fast and Furious.
Fast and Furious, exactly. I mean, but I mean, a show like, I'm not sure if you keep up with The Walking Dead or anything, but of course there's Fear the Walking Dead, which is currently in its final season. The last couple seasons have been like, oh my god, like how can the writing be this atrocious? Where like I mean, like it certainly has its moments, but I mean, like it's kind of like, oh my god, like unreal. But then of course you got something like Dead City, the new spinoff that takes place in New York, which I think is a phenomenal season of television. And of course, unfortunately, season 2 has been delayed because of the strike, which is a bummer. But it depends, I guess, if it comes from a franchise, like as you said, Fast and Furious. 1 second they're racing each other on the street, next second they're in space fighting mutants, or I don't know. I haven't seen the last one. I don't know if there's any mutants in it.
It was pretty good, but yeah, it's Fast and Furious. You're not expecting an Oscar performance.
I stopped after number 8, I think it was, and then I was just like, I can't keep it up. It
was
after
the one with Dwayne. Oh no, Dwayne was 7, right? Fast 7.
Dwayne was in number 8, I believe. It was the last one that I saw was with Paul Walker. What one was that?
Oh yeah,
number 7, like, I think it was.
Yeah, 6 or 7. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like, not that it went downhill without Paul Walker, but I mean, it was kind of just you're going from. I mean, even that one was very like you got cars jumping through buildings and stuff like that, and we're like, how did the franchise get to here? I mean, okay, I get it, it's for fun, but it really all in lies with like who's making the movie. I think it is. I mean, in some cases, I don't think it's the writers, unless it's like Fear the Walking Dead, where I'm like, guys, like you turned a pretty damn good show about a family surviving in the zombie apocalypse at the start of it too into a show about flying beer balloons, hot air balloons that are shaped like a beer bottle, trying to help some people while documenting it all. And it's like, how the hell did it get from here? It's all in the writing. They changed showrunners midway through, so that's why. But I'm like, come on, if you're taking that over, like how the hell do you go from stories about you're fighting for survival and bickering with other groups over water and resources and stuff. Now you're flying hot air balloons trying to help people. I'm like, what? Like, how the hell did we get here? And then there's cats that are like your sidekick and nuclear. What? Like, it just, I'm like, how the hell did you get there? So a lot of it can be within the writing, but then some of it can be like, okay, the writers are making the best out of a bad situation. Like, they're writing a franchise that should have ended a long time ago, but they're just, okay, studio hired me for this. I'm just going to do the best damn job I can. So that's what I'd say. It really all depends on what the franchise is or what the movie is, or like who the writer is and how talented they are.
Yeah, I don't blame the writers. I mean, it's really everybody's at fault. At least behind the scenes, because like I said, I know what it's like on on big sets, constant changes in lines. I mean, the fact that you prepare for a scene and then 2 hours before you shoot the scene, you're getting a whole new script rewrote. I think if people just came together and came up with an idea. Obviously, I know things are always going to change on the fly, but when you're constantly having everybody, hey, I don't like this line, take that out, and then the producer, hey, I don't like that, take that out. And then the executive, I don't like that, take it. Everybody has an opinion, which is great. But when you're constantly overstepping each other every step of the way, I think that's one of the problems it's causing. And even just outside of writing, movies have in general, not been very good. And I say that because it's a lack of diversity in movies. It seems to me that the only movies that are really popular are movies like Mission Impossible, that have a long-standing reputation, is backed by a certain type of celebrity actor, Will Smith or whatever the case may be, or it's superhero movies, right? And even then, I would say for a lot of celebrity actors, it's becoming increasingly hard for them too, because I didn't even know this movie came out. I was having a discussion at the park a couple weeks ago, but there was a movie that came out last year. A bunch of celebrity. It was an ensemble cast, basically ensemble cast. People don't know. It's basically a movie with a bunch of celebrities. It's just like a celebrity galore. That movie sucked. It was a box office flop bomb. It didn't even make close to the budget. It was awful, right? And those type of movies 10, 20 years ago would have been like the peak of success, right? And it goes to show that I think a lot of the issues Hollywood is suffering from is unoriginal content, right? Everything is a remake. Everything is a rework. Home Alone is on this, number 8th movie? And oh my God. I mean, they need to cut. They really need to stop it.
They should have ended it after number 2. Number 1 and 2 were fine, and then afterwards they just kept beating a dead horse.
Now I will say, number 3 is serviceable. Would I put it up there with number 1 and 2? No, but compared to 4, 5, and 6, I mean, it's just gotten more atrocious. The acting has been garbage, and I think it's just the unoriginal content, but. One of the issues, like I said, Marvel is not the only one, but I think the industry has put so much reliance on CGI, big shoot 'em up movies, $300 million budget movies, that, unfortunately, the days of making an American Gangster or a Training Day or Independence Day or Scarface or Heat, Bronx Tale, those days are long gone. I mean, they could survive, but they will probably survive in the indie market. The days of having that diverse content, of seeing all those type of movies, Terminator, then being able to go back and watch Pacific Rim, or seeing, Training Day. Nobody wants to see those type of movies anymore, outside of Pacific Rim, which is okay, but the days of having that type of content is gone. Now it's all big CGI, $300 million, shoot them up, blow stuff up, flying across the universe type of movies. And I think it is really, I think, a culmination of a lot of things. Social media, people's attention spans. People don't want to sit in a movie theater and watch a comedy drama anymore. People want to see Superman destroy people, fly through buildings, that type of stuff. And I think the over reliance on CGI and action has ruined it. And outside from that, just unoriginality. Is no original content. Everything, like I said, is a remake, a remodel of another project that just came out or came out, 30 years ago. They want to drudge it up. I think if Hollywood, and as an actor, and I'm sure for you as a writer, if they just went back to the formula of making feel good stuff and not having to rely on CGI shoot 'em up movies, these could change. The problem is, I think society is kind of far gone from that. I think people are used to those type of movies. It's like TikTok. TikTok has ruined everybody. It's ruined the entertainment industry. It's ruined everybody because now people only giving you 5 seconds. All right, if you don't captivate me in 5 seconds, I'm over. I'm next one. Skip, pass, go. Don't collect. Right, and I think I don't know. I think there's a resolve to this. I just don't know if the resolve is going to be I don't think it's going to have that immediate effect. It might take years, even decades, to change that. But to be honest with you, I think the movie theater experience is dwindling down. I don't think it's going to go back to what it was. I think streaming services has changed it. Just for a little sidetrack. But look at the Apple. What it was, that new headset that they got coming out.
It's like, what is that called again? I know what you're talking about. I saw it on. What is that called?
I can't remember.
Slipped my mind. Someone who's watching the show, definitely be sure to comment.
yeah, most definitely. And I watched a review, some YouTuber who does tech stuff. He actually reviewed it. That $5,000 or $4,000 headset, like the technology in that thing, to be able to sit at home, put that on, and watch. Be able to use your hands, and it's hard to describe. You have to watch the video and stuff.
Virtual VR.
VR, yeah,
VR
headset.
I don't know why that was in my head.
Oh yeah, I just didn't remember the actual name of the device, but yeah, virtual reality headset. That is going to change the game, because instead of going to the movie theaters, imagine this: you bring a date home, or you just want to chill at home, you want to watch a new movie that came out. You would go to the movie theater, maybe watch 3D high definition. Now, put on the headset. You can watch it from a comfy own home. It's right there. You don't have to move. You sit on the couch. It's right there.
You're in the movie, basically.
It's over. I say that, unfortunately, heartbreaking. The movie theater experience is gone. The star of an actor is starting to dwindle down, because now you don't need a Tom Cruise as much anymore, because now you have streaming services. Ted Lasso was an original Apple TV show, right? And it's been one of the biggest shows that happened in recent years, right? The popularity has gotten. 10 years ago, you needed to be on cable TV to do that. Cable TV don't hold a stand to nothing no more. First of all, cable TV is like half a rent payment. I don't use it. I know some of the older generation, every time I talk to like my girlfriend's grandparents, they say, "Well, hey, you got cable?" No, I use Netflix stuff. What is that? And I'd be like, hey, we'll introduce you to that. But they like cable because they're used to it. But the price of cable is like almost $300 for a month.
Unbelievable. So, and if you're not watching stuff, like, you're not saying like, hey, I watched this TV show every Sunday night or Monday night, so I need cable. It's like, well, no. If you only have like one or two shows like that, I mean, okay, I get it. But I mean, for the most part, like, nobody does that. It's like, if they want to watch something, they'll just watch it on streaming. But it's funny, when you talk about how, like, nothing original and stuff like that, there's one exception I'd give to that. Have you seen Glass Onion?
I have. I watched the last one though. I didn't watch the other one or two.
Oh yeah, Glass Onion be the second one. That was, I remember, because I had watched.
That's what Batista, Daniel Craig, and
I watched that one. Kate Hudson. Yeah, that one was very, because I mean, I love murder mysteries and stuff. And I mean, that was written and directed and produced by Rian Johnson, who did a tremendous job. That was like basically just one man's vision. And so, I mean, that's a great example of, I mean, like, murder mysteries, they've been done to death. But I mean, Rian Johnson found a way to just keep it fresh and keep it original and keep it surprising. And like, the first two Knives Out were awesome. The second one wasn't as good as the first, but I'm excited they're making a third one as well. So
I did see that. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, yeah. I mean, like that's fair. I mean, you had lots of great actors in there, like Edward Norton, Daniel Craig is phenomenal in that role as Benoit Blanc, and I mean, like, yeah, I definitely. There's still opportunities for writers to take something that has been done to death, like a murder mystery, Agatha Christie and all that stuff, and keep it fresh and exciting. So, I mean, there definitely still is hope for that type of content.
Oh no. Yeah. Let me just backtrack just a little bit. When I say unoriginal, I mean like I watched Kaleidoscope on Netflix. I don't know if you watched that.
No.
It's like a murder mystery. Well, it's more of a crime mystery show, but it's 9 seasons. It's 9 episodes. There's only one season. 9 episodes. They all have different colors. So episode number 1 is blue. Episode number 5 is pink. Right. But the idea of the show is you can watch any of the shows in different order. You can watch every episode in different order. So you could start with number 9, then watch episode number 3, then episode number 8. You can watch it all out of order and come to the same conclusion. It's a really good show. At first I was like, I don't know, and then I actually watched it. It's actually interesting. Check that out. But what I meant by unoriginal, I mean like the movie theater experience, right? Streaming services have allowed that flexibility of having diverse content, right? But when we talk about like the big budget movies, it's all kind of the same. It's all mostly action. It's all celebrity based.
I
Yeah, that stuff. Yeah, and as a newbie, for upcoming actors and stuff. One of the issues I'm having is a lot of these movies are relying on celebrities instead of actual act. I'm not actual actors, but they're not allowing new faces, right? So like Barbie, Oppenheimer are both movies that are only really casting celebrity actors in those roles, which I understand, but it's also like, you're not new faces aren't getting the same opportunity. Now, with that being said, Marvel, DC, some other corporations and entities have allowed new faces to come in. But I will say streaming services has changed what it's like to be an actor because, 20 years ago, before I was in the industry, you had to be a Will Smith or a Tom Cruise to get those type of roles. Now you could be an unknown actor, nobody's ever really given you a chance. You could get plucked out of obscurity and get cast in a Marvel movie or a lead on a Netflix or HBO Max show and become a huge star. I mean, that's one of the greatest things about streaming, as that it has made content easier to make. It's allowed writers, actors, other people in the industry more work. Because now, back then it used to be you had to get an invitation to be invited to even audition or get be considered for a writer or director in those movies. Now it's free game. Everybody has a chance. But it's one of those things too where it's like streaming. Also, the money has to change with that, and which is why the strike and all that stuff is important because, yeah, it has made that possible, but the money isn't the same either. So it's like, okay, should we go back to the original where I can do one TV show and pay my rent for half a year, or I'm doing all of these popular TV shows and I'm still working at McDonald's,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, that's what people are doing now. I mean, of course, they're, looking for work and stuff like that. They've had to get regular jobs. But I mean, the fact that they're actors, that's what their bread and butter is. But they're working at a, fast food joint to make money. Like, what's going on there? Like, that's when there's a problem with the industry.
Yeah, I know Sydney Sweeney. I was a little critical of her at first when she came out. But I understand now. I'm understanding her point because I know she came out complaining about pay for actors. I was like, you're making pretty good money over there. I don't know if I would be complaining, but then I understand why. It's like when you get to that level, when you're on these popular shows, you have overhead. As someone with 3 agents and the manager and all that stuff, there's a lot of mouths to feed, especially if you have a publicist, a lawyer, you probably have, mortgages and all that stuff. The money, acting coach, the money starts, you need overhead. Yeah, overhead increases. So I understand that point. But I don't want to make this too negative. I think it's been a good conversation, but it's just part of the strike is supporting it, and this conversation is supporting it because it's having a conversation that the union and the people who are picketing outside right now are fighting for. They want change and they want better representation, better pay, better work, job security too. With that being said, let me ask you, to bring this conversation to a positive note, what do you think is the future of the industry? Do you think that we will find a solution, and then that I say AI is here, it's not going nowhere. It's only going to get more advanced as time goes on. But do you think that there's going to be a point in the next couple months where we all can get together, find a solution, get back to work, and make things happen?
I mean, definitely some type of solution. I mean, like, I definitely can't see this dragging on for like forever. But I mean, definitely, as you said, AI is not going anywhere. Streaming's not going anywhere. I think for the most part, people, I think they're going to end up like just, hopefully, I think the writers eventually will get what they deserve. And that will just kind of go on with, I mean, like, okay, like streaming's not going anywhere. I'm releasing this movie that's going to be released in theaters and stuff like that. Who knows how well it's going to do. But I mean, I can see them like maybe like lowering some budgets as well, maybe on some movies like Indy 5. I mean, I haven't seen it, but I mean, $300 million for a budget. Like that's unbelievable. I mean, like that's like a Marvel-esque budget. I mean, let's be real here. With Marvel, they could make a $400 million budget and they would break even the first weekend. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like that's just maybe not exactly, but I mean, like they're like that's
not Thor: Love and Thunder, but
no, God no, holy jeez, that was just big pile of shit. But or like Avatar 2 just came out. That was a huge, and that made $1 billion, one of the highest grossing movies of all time. Again, same with the first one, but I think that's. I can see that happening where like Hollywood kind of like lowers some of like the budgets and just says, okay, we're only gonna, instead of 250 million, we'll go 200 million, because I mean, like, studios are losing money when a box office or a movie bombs, box office bomb, like that affects the studio tremendously. Like they're out of like billions of dollars. So I can see that happening, because I think as we were saying, streaming has had a huge impact on it, but I think they're going to end up realizing that streaming's not going anywhere. AI is not going anywhere. The movie theater will, the theater industry will still be here, but we kind of just gotta push forward with our fair pay, which hopefully they will get what's coming to them. And we'll get back to some kind of normal, because, I mean, eventually I think we're going to have to, because the writers can't be on strike forever. So, yeah, that's where I see it ending. I mean, like, I mean, it is very hard to predict, because, I mean, who knows, something could change tomorrow and they come to an agreement and they're all happily ever after. It's really hard to say. So, that's personally where I see it going. How long it'll take to get there, that's another question. As I said, a couple months maybe. But I can see like that. I mean, stay pretty much the same, except everyone gets fair compensation. At least that's what I hope. I'm not sure if you have the same stance as I do or not.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm guessing October. I think that's a sweet spot. Hopefully before. But I think that's because, like you said, writers don't want to be out of work too long. Actors don't want to be out too long. But I actually read an article recently where it's costing studios money every time these movies are pushed back, delayed from filming. That's permits, location, paying for locations, paying other people. Everybody is losing out money, especially the studios. So right now is prime time for writers and actors. Yeah, you may not be making, projects and stuff right now, but the studios are the ones that are losing the money, from, all that stuff. So I say that at the end of the day, we will come to a solution. And it's funny, I was thinking about Dave Bautista in the WWE. He was like, give me what I want. It was to Triple H. And that's what I was thinking, people, SAG-AFTRA and the writers, give me what I want. But
He's out. He's out on the picket line, like doing that.
Oh, yeah. I don't think we're going to get everything we're fighting for right now. I think it's going to be over time. It's going to be something that we're going to have to revisit because AI is not exactly where it needs to be 100% yet. That we can cut it off at the legs, at least standing wise. But I think we'll get to a resolution that works for everybody, and then eventually we'll, as AI starts advancing and all that stuff, we'll have more talks about, all that stuff and restrictions and all that stuff. But I have hope. I think everybody wants to get back to work. Everybody wants to get back to making, money. Everybody wants to get back to making quality products and entertainment for people. I know I want to get, things were going well for me until the writer's strike. I was like, oh, I'm about to, start audition for Marvel movies, and then bam. So it's one of those things that I'm looking forward to. I think change had to come. I'm actually surprised it didn't happen during the pandemic. I would have thought the pandemic would have shifted that change. But I think over the last 3 years, things have, because 2 years ago, AI wasn't a thing. Last year, nobody was really talking about AI. It really only became a thing recently. Yeah. I mean, a year changed the game for, so yeah, I have hope that things are going to happen. And we're all going to get back to work. We're going to get back to doing what we love, and, everybody will be satisfied. So, this has been a great conversation, man. Like I said, we could talk about this all day. I want to, people are probably driving. I don't want to put them to sleep, even though we have been doing great.
Please don't fall asleep behind the wheel, guys, if you're awake.
Don't blame.
If you're driving, please wake up.
Hey, if you fall asleep to this podcast, I will personally come visit you and give you a can of whoop at. No, I'm kidding. I won't do that.
Kick your ass.
Right. But Franky, like I said, you're doing great things, and I know you had mentioned you're working on a production right now, August 17th. But what is happening? What's going on? I'll let the people where they can find you. What's happening? And all that good stuff.
Yeah, I'm doing a production with CM Productions, Leading Ladies by Ken Ludwig. Very, very funny play. Comedy in 2 acts. I play a doctor in it. Doc Myers is my name. August 17th to the 20th, anyone in Miramichi, Canada, and surrounding areas. August 17th to the 20th, tickets are $20. They can be purchased at the door. It's a great script. It's really, really funny, and it's a lot of slapstick humor. And then I have a production coming up that I'm writing and directing. Actually, I just finished the script, finalizing the script yesterday. I had workshopped it and everything, and we'll be starting that late August. There's a few things I have to get prepared, but that'll be in November. We're looking for that. Nice. So basically, best way to describe it would be The Office if it was set in a theater company. That's kind of like the best way to describe it. So
interesting.
That kind of humor, that kind of setting, it's a lot of fun. And then also be sure you can check out my weekly podcast, the Corcoran Entertainment Show, Apple Podcast, Spotify, new episodes every Tuesday. I'll chat with a guest, like Percy was on as well. We chat for a bit, and then after the segment, I'll kind of go through some stuff going on in the entertainment world, and it's a lot of fun. So definitely be sure to check it out, and definitely be sure to check out the Prince of Fresh Air every second Tuesday, because this guy is awesome at what he does. So thank you so much, Percy, for having me. I really, really appreciate it.
Oh, that was touching. No autograph though. I know what you're trying to do here.
Oh shit. Okay, bye. No.
Get out of here.
Get out of here. That's your podcast.
Trying to butter me up. You believe this guy? I'm kidding. No, yeah, man. It's always great to see other people striving, doing what they enjoy, doing what they love. And also, this is a journey that a lot of people don't understand, would never want to embark on. But it's a rewarding one. And I think for us, I enjoy doing this. It is definitely something that I learn something every day. Even I know people some people think I come off cocky and all that stuff, which is all true, but it's more to me. It's more to me. But yeah, Franky, you've been awesome. I'm sure I'm gonna have you back on again. Dwayne The Rock Johnson, before we wrap this up, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, he sent me an email the other day, and I could expect it from him, you know, not off me a role in Black Adam. I get it. He didn't want competition. But, you know, you got productions going on. I ain't get no invite. What's going on?
Oh, well, I mean, like, you know, that's I can cut one of the people in my next production and say, hey, sorry guys, Percy Brown's available. You know, yeah, I can do that. Or next show I write, I will make sure now that I know you're available, I'll write a part specifically for you, if that helps.
You know what though? I see. Normally I take the offer, but with Canada trying to smoke me out, I'm staying away.
Just stay away.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do a virtual production then. How about that? We'll do a virtual
I'll do it right
production.
here.
Right here. Let's do the play right now. Guys, you're witnessing history right here. For Corcoran Entertainment.
To be or not to be.
See this guy here. See, he's got the chops. He really does.
I want to brag. TMZ, you know, holla at your boy, you know. So. You know, Franky, it's been awesome. I know it's getting late. You know, we've been at this for almost an hour and a half. Beautiful conversation. You know, like I said, we're gonna have you back on. Until then, Franky, keep doing what you're doing. Have fun doing what you're doing. And like I always say, a helping hand is a better hand. Thank you, Franky, for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate it very much.